Seoul, South Korea, a 3,000 crowd packed inside this arena, and just about every single one of them will be supporting In-Jin Chi, who won the World Featherweight Championship, the WBC version of it, at the third time of asking against Michael Brody. He really is one of the toughest men on the planet. He gets hit all right, but you just can't seem to hurt him. And it'll be a big job here for Aichi Sugama, fighting for the first time outside Japan is Sugama. He's won 26 out of 30, but you'd worry about the fact that 10 weeks ago he drew with a decent fighter called Hector Velasquez and was so disappointed by his performance that night that he thought about retiring. But this is a big, big chance for him, and it's come out of nowhere. Chi a favourite though, but is he weight drained, Jim?
Yeah, I think there's a big possibility that he is. It's amazing that he goes abroad and makes the weight at the first attempt, but boxing at home and badly, £2 is a long way off the mark. 70 minutes it took him to shed the weight, so that itself proves how tight he is at the weight.
Sugama with his name on the back of the trunks, and if you need further identification, In-Jin Chi with red boots. Unhelpfully, they're both in black trunks. That shouldn't happen. The WBC should have prevented that. They are, by the way, still in business, despite filing for bankruptcy recently. Looks like they're going to do a deal with Graziano Rocchigiani, with who they've been in dispute over money.
Well, against Brody, Chi was so keen to make an instant impression, really take charge straight away. He's just starting a little bit slower than normal tonight.
Sugama is the WBC's number 12 contender, by the way. He's got the reputation of being quite a hard puncher, but he can be a bit one-dimensional and sometimes lets his work rate drop off. That's the word anyway, but frankly, like you at home, we've never seen him before. He's been operating solely in Japan. Red boots, remember, of the champion In-Jin Chi. Good shot from him with the left hand. He is relentless. He always is coming forward, keeps on throwing leather. And I think it'll take a very tough man, frankly, to dethrone him. He's not ever going to win loads of marks for his technical expertise, but my goodness me, he's effective, as even Eric Morales found out. Good shots again from Chi, and with fast hands too. Looks like Sugama's quite easy to hit, Jim.
Yeah, well, it's very stationary. His head doesn't move too much. Defence is a little bit lacking too. See, Chi started slowly, but as soon as he springs into life, I think maybe he caught Sugama napping there.
Right hand over the top here from In-Jin Chi, who, of course, with these 24-hour weigh-ins, has had a good amount of time to recover after his 70-minute effort to make the weight. He's been all over Sugama, really, in this opening round. Looks a bit too good for him in the early going.
Yeah, but I think it's shifty opponents that Chi would worry about. Someone who's prepared to stand in front of him. He's going to enjoy himself, and he doesn't have to go looking for Sugama here. Good first round from Chi.
Round for In-Jin Chi here in Seoul, South Korea, against this Aichi Sugama, who's 28, 3 years younger than Chi, who turned 31 a few days ago. Chi in the red boots, remember here. Two fighters looking a bit similar. Nice left jabbing too from In-Jin Chi. He's beginning to become quite a familiar figure, as I say. I think it'll take a good fighter to beat him. He's right up there in the argument about the top featherweights now. That's decent from Sugama with the jab. That might lift him a little bit, but I think myself, my own view is that Juan Manuel Marquez is the top man around at this weight. Other people might argue about that.
I'd go along with that, Ian, but it's a real tough division, the featherweight division. Some big fights, and Chi would like to get himself amongst them. Clumsy at times, as you can see, but a decent variety of punches, but just a little bit wild at times. Clips him with a hook and then a straight right as well, and he's landing with great frequency here. Chi himself just getting picked off occasionally by the jab, but the impression is Sugama's going to have to do more, otherwise he's just going to be bustled out of this by this hard man from South Korea. Yeah, I think it's the way Chi can just walk through his opponent's punches that demoralises opponents. I mean, Sagama's landed some good solid shots here, but Chi just walking through them.
Sagama was good enough to win the Japanese featherweight championship and defend it 3 times, but he did come a cropper in a defence against Dainoshin Kuma, an unbeaten fighter in Osaka, and he's knocked out in 9 rounds of that. One of his 3 defeats. A marauding, typically marauding performance early on this from Injin Chi. There's been a lot of talk about him fighting Manny Pacquiao from the Philippines, and what a Far East showdown that would be. There's already been some preliminary discussions, and here, again, real good combination punching from Injin Chi. He might be a bit crude, but goodness me, he just never stops coming at you. Look at these punches raining in.
But Sagama still quite happy to stand and trade with them. Not a bad chin himself. These are thumping shots from Chi then. Good little bursts now and again from Sagama, but you always get the feeling Chi is the boss.
Left hooks, right crosses, straight shots. And Sagama, give him credit, has sucked it up pretty well under quite a barrage early on. That's a low blow by the look of it.
And Chi's complained a couple of times already about low punches. It's unusual to see Chi complaining. That's a couple of times he's complained, but the first time the referees got involved.
It's another Injin Chi round here. Dominant early on. He's looking good so far. Work here for Aichi Sugama as he comes out for round 3. He won 9 of his first 11 fights by knockout this third pan, but he's found it a bit harder as he's moved up and the opponents have become better. Red boots, remember, of Injin Chi, the WBC featherweight champion. On the left of your picture as you look at them. Good jab there from Sugama. I was just thinking, Jim, it'd be quite a fight too, wouldn't it? Injin Chi against Scott Harrison. Imagine that one.
Well, Frank Maloney did mention that match, but I'd be surprised. I think maybe Harrison has his mandatory out of the way. I think he'll maybe have a couple of sensible defences before he starts chasing the big boys.
And frankly, Injin Chi's not the kind of guy you'd go looking for, is he, either, really?
No, I don't think so. He's a nightmare for anyone. The problems they gave Eric Morales, it was a unanimous decision against him, but everybody felt it was much closer than the officials saw.
It's a good effort so far from Sugama. He's trying to stay with Chi's work rate. Now there's a right hand which really rocks back his head. A couple of left uppercuts as well, and a left hook to follow. Never gives you a moment. Now then, Sugama's trying to show the crowd and Chi that he's not bothered by any of this.
But that's you underlining the fact that you're the one taking the punches, and although they're not bothering you, you're still the one taking them.
Launches in with his own left hook, but Chi's a bit more aggressive, and I repeat, you just can't seem to make a dent in Injin Chi. What is he made of? Metal?
Yeah, I mean, a tremendous chin he has. It's the way he takes punches. There's no change of his facial expression. He just keeps walking forward. It must break opponents' hearts.
Good right hand from Sugama in there, and his body punching hasn't been bad either. He's let a couple go low as well. He's prepared to rough it up with Chi on the inside. Not bad tactics, those, because you do need to do something to try at least to break this guy's rhythm. Good shots from Sugama there, who's certainly no kind of mug, is he, from the look of this?
Well, at least Sugama is boxing in his own style. I mean, some fighters would try to move around, use the ring, start boxing from a distance. He knows that's not his style. He probably also knows this is not the way to beat Injin Chi, but he's giving it his best shot. But I think he just lacks the physical strength and the power to get this fellow on his back foot.
I think Sugama's done better in this round than the first two, though. This is a more competitive round. Again, he's hurt with the right hand, and a very stiff, straight left hand from the champion as well. As Jim was saying, he just looks such a handful. He really does. Yeah. So far, I think all 3 rounds have gone to Injin Chi, though the third would have been a bit closer. Chi in the red boots and Sugama with his name written on the back of his black trunks. He's got Bazooka written on the front as well, if that helps you any. Both in black trunks, you can't even see the boots sometimes. Sugama bidding to become the 3rd world featherweight champion for Japan after Shozo Seijio from 68 to 71 and Kuniaki Shibato in the early 70s, who was WBC champion. Nothing since.
Well, when your big chance comes, it's nice that you're coming off an excellent performance. For Sugama, that's not the case. He struggled badly last time out, although he scored a draw against a decent fighter. So it's not the best situation. That's complaints for low punching again. I think we can see a point being deducted if this carries on.
Australian referee Malcolm Bullner, by the way, saying that I think that's your last warning to Sugama, who's not going to expect too many favours here in this quite packed little hall in Korea. I'm a bit surprised they didn't find a bigger hall for Injin Chi's first defence. They're talking about him getting a hero's welcome when he got back, but how come they've got him on in an arena that only holds 3,000 then, Jim?
Yeah, that is a surprise. I mean, I thought it would have been a massive venue. Sugama managing to keep a little bit of space between himself and the champion in this round, doing just a little bit better. Chi kind of reaching with his shots and missing. So is Chi slowing down, or is it too early to start worrying about that with the weight worries?
Certainly going for it early on here. Wings away with the hooks, not very accurately. Sometimes his punching is a bit crude and wild. Doesn't really mind from what angle he throws the shots. He just believes in keeping the leather flowing. He must be an immensely strong and fit man. Bet he's never out of the gym. He has that look about him. But it was unprofessional, very unprofessional, of him to come in 2 pounds over the limit. How did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes when fighters win titles, maybe they go off the rails a little bit. They want to celebrate, which is fair enough. So maybe that's what's happened with Chi, but certainly Sugama improved in the 3rd round, and he's improved even more in the 4th round. I think he's nicking this round with a cleaner shot. It's more accurate work. Chi not really finding the target at the moment.
And always the possibility that Chi might fade if he's weight trained. That's a big right hand there from Sugama. Again, no impression, just took it. Injin Chi, but that was a cracking shot. It really
a lovely
was.
punch. I mean, there is no method in what Chi is doing in this round. He's just pushing himself forward without a thought.
Being at Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson in Tokyo, and the crowd, there were 40,000, and they didn't shout and scream, they just clapped like it was the test match at the end of every round of this huge sensation unfolding in front of their eyes. Slightly different atmosphere here. Crowd trying to get behind Injin Chi, but a very respectful and knowledgeable crowd too. They do love their boxing in this part of the world.
Yeah, something like boxing in the private clubs back home, were respectful during the action and appreciative applause at the end of the rounds. But Chi, definitely there's been a drop in his work rate over the last couple of rounds.
Just watch for any signs of Injin Chi fading because of the obvious weight problems he's had. No sign of it there with left hook and straight left too. And here he goes again. This is typical Chi action, closing down his man and then letting the punches really fly.
These punches are shaking Sugama up. That is the big difference. Chi's best shots are having the effect.
He's all over you like a rash, isn't he, this guy Chi? Body punch on the inside was good. Watch the holding this time. He's going to get a point knocked off, is he here? Yeah, a point knocked off here for Sugama. Low blows, and was there a bit of holding as well there,
There's
Jim?
been a little bit of holding, but the warning was that definitely for the low blows. I mean, even Chi himself has complained a few times about the low punching.
As if Sugama hasn't got enough problems in the fight, he now has a point deducted. So if he did win that last round, and Jim thought he did, well, that advantage has been kind of thrown away. He's had his moments in the fight, Sugama, but not enough of them yet. And here goes Chi again with the combinations.
I think Chi has a natural fighter's pride. A little bit of success from Sugama. He feels he has to answer every little bit of success has to be answered, and here he's doing it again now.
Great durability so far, it has to be said, from Eaiichi Sugama. Well, he's got another warning there. He's in danger of getting thrown out here. He's had 1 point deducted already. The referee's definitely on his case, though, isn't he? He knows he's away, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's not what you could call really a dirty fight. I think maybe just a lack of accuracy in some of his punches, and they're straying low. But there's no malice or viciousness about it.
Pressure,
again, Chi
pressure,
looking the
pressure.
boss, isn't he?
Yeah, all pressure, isn't it? Isn't it, Jim, with the point off as well?
Yep, definitely. Again, they struggled a little bit in the previous round. Didn't quite struggle, but on my card, Sugama won it. But he comes back like true champion, gets himself back in charge with the bonus of a point deduction.
And music between the rounds here. Why do they need that, I wonder? I guess it's just part of the local culture, but it's a decent enough fight without needing a rock accompaniment.
Yeah, but still, Sugama deserves a little bit of credit. He's still been prepared to stand his ground. He's not trying to hide. Been maybe warned a couple of times for holding, but still good action.
Just look at Sugama. He's taken all those punches. There's hardly a mark on him, let alone a cut. Not a swelling. And it's great to have that kind of skin, isn't it? If you're a fighter, it's a big advantage. Some people just cut up even looking in the shaving mirror, as they say. He's complaining, Chi, to the referee. Body shots, head shots, it's pretty one-sided stuff, this. Can Sugama hold on in there under this kind of assault? You begin to wonder. Chi wants to stop him. Remember, he stopped Brody in 7 rounds. Manchester's Michael Brody in their rematch after a drawn first fight, a controversial fight, that one.
He is easy to hit, Chi, but the fact that he can take them and just come through with another 4 or 5 punches of his own just keeps him in the driving seat.
Not only that, Jim, in the build-up to fights and sometimes during it, he smiles a lot. Looks like he actually enjoys what he's doing. It's disconcerting, and look at this now as he turns up the heat even more on poor Eaiichi Sugama, who's got it all to do. He's a long way behind. Uppercut range, and referee taking a closer look now at the Japanese fighter. But give him credit, he's soaking all this up. But for how much longer? You do start to wonder, don't you, Jim?
Yeah, well, certainly there are no signs that he's weight drained. The strength is there. He's still setting the pace. Maybe Sugama's been hoping maybe to come in the second half of the fight, but no signs of weakness from the champion.
Look a bit low on the left side there. The left hook from Chi. Took an uppercut, didn't care, just walked through it. That's what he does. Did it with Morales as well. We were mightily impressed with him when he went to America and fought Eric Morales and gave that great fighter all the trouble he could handle. He did lose it, not as big as the judges thought, but he did lose it.
See, I think the way to beat Chi has to be using the ring, showing some angles, making him miss, making him reach with his punches, but Sugama does not have that style. Thankfully, because it's making it a real spectacle here, it's a good fight to watch. But Sugama does not have any answers to the power or the pace of the work coming from Chi.
Uppercut has hurt Sugama, and now he is beginning to mark up and start to look a bit rocky. No surprise, really. It's just unrelenting. This guy Injin Chi doesn't feel like he's earning a living unless he's throwing 80 to 100 punches around. Sugama tries to come back with a body punch. Great bravery from him. Real fighting spirit. But he's finding Chi is way too much. I think this is a champion that people will want to avoid. Oh, and a right hand! Buckles the knees suddenly of Injin Chi. What about that?
For me, that's a count, Ian. I'm sure his hands touched. He touched down. I'm sure his hands touched the canvas. If that's the case, that should be a count. There's been no count given, but for me, that was a definite knockdown.
He touched down. We thought he touched down, and that moment came out of nowhere. Well, Sugama had the reputation of being a puncher going in. Chi had just walked through him to that round. But we think here that Chi has been done an enormous favour by the referee.
Well, I'm scoring it as a knockdown. I'm not agreeing with the referee because I'm sure maybe we'll see here, maybe change my mind, but I'm sure his gloves touch the canvas, and if any part of the body touches the canvas apart from the soles of the feet, then it's a knockdown. Beautiful punch. Here we go. Without a doubt, the hand, for me, that's a knockdown. So I have that a 10-9 round to Sugama, not 10-8 because I think he was struggling up to that point. A 10-9 round to Sugama.
Just to underline the rule there, if a fighter does touch the canvas with the glove, that counts as a knockdown. And Chi here having to take more. Sugama's going for it here, right out of nowhere, with Chi almost on the brink, you thought, of stopping him. Things have been turned around. Was a minute long enough for a maybe weight drained Injin Chi? Not that there's been too many signs of him being weight drained in this fight.
Well, it was a beautiful punch, Ian, and the fact that he recovered from it instantly, that again shows the toughness of the man and the fact he is in good shape. I don't think he's neglected the gymnasium for this fight, but I think maybe he's done something badly wrong judging the weight, but he's definitely in good condition.
So some drama mixed in here. Watch the headwork, says the Australian referee, who's been very kind to Injin Chi, really, right the way through this. He's been on Sugama's case. I hate that kind of thing, frankly, away fighters getting that kind of treatment. Referees should be better than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough business, and as I say, I don't think there's been any malice in anything that Sugama's done, but he's taken the initiative a little bit more. There's definitely been a turnaround in the action. Chi has been pushed back, and we don't see that.
Sugama's going for it here, and Chi is still a bit groggy from the round before. Fight been turned on its head, and Sugama looking here for the punches that could cause a sensation right in Chi's backyard. Chi comes back again.
See, really, with the Chi style, it has to be coming forward to be effective. When Sugama pushes him back, it's a totally different story altogether. But does he have the strength to continue to do that?
Oh, he's hurt again. That's up this time. Chi's hurt again. That went right through to the sole of his boots. Another one lands. Suddenly, he doesn't look so indestructible now. And another right hand. He could get knocked out here, Injin Chi, if this carries on. Sugama's having a great spell in the fight in round 7. And this now is a dramatic contest. It really is.
And Chi does not even have the sense or the experience to clutch here and get his head cleared. You feel as though one big punch could see him on the canvas again.
Well, 5 minutes ago you could only see one winner of this fight. Forget that. Different script. Back comes Chi again. This is a terrific round. Another right uppercut from Sugama, who's definitely got himself ready for this 10 weeks after he was thinking of quitting the business.
Well, you always felt Sugama was a decent fighter. His moves were good. He looked the part, but he was just being bullied by Chi. But what a turnaround in this round.
I'll tell you something as well, Sugama's going to need a knockout to win here. I've no doubt about that. He's not going to get given it on the scorecards. He's won that round too, I think. Well, there's a few anxious faces among the Injin Chi fans in the crowd. What a tough guy this fellow is. Where did he come from? Eaiichi Sugama.
Well, we knew he was a puncher. He'd been stopped before, so we thought maybe his chin left something to be desired, but that's not been the case. And he was the one who looked like champion in that round. And look at the kind of tired look in Chi's work now. Look at these punches. He's trying to get punches off, but his balance is gone. He doesn't have the stamina. Is a minute long enough to get himself pulled together here?
Certainly been through a very rocky patch here in Chi. And remember, we repeat again, he came in 2 pounds over the weight limit. Not an ideal preparation. Is he in tip-top shape for this? These last few rounds could be long, hard rounds for the champion. Remember, he's the one in the red boots in Chi. Sorry to keep repeating that, but it does need repeating with them both in black trunks. Look at this fight here now.
Well, Sagama has found that he has the power to hurt Chi. He has the tactics now to beat him. He knows to push him onto his back foot. It's a different fight altogether. But can he sustain it? Does he have the strength to push this man back? Still tiredness, a tired look about Chi at the moment.
And he's been forced onto the back foot. You haven't seen that too often in those 2 fights he had with Michael Brodie. Although Brodie certainly had a lot of good passages in that first fight with him.
See, Chi is crude, he throws wild punches, so when he's tired, he's even easier to hit, and massive problems he's facing now.
But this is strange, we've got almost a role reversal here. It looks like Sugama's the one who can't be hurt by anything Chi's doing, and Chi, from having that tank-like look in the early rounds, now Sugama knows that he can get him going, he can hurt him.
Yep, and Chi is on tired legs, and when the legs are tired, you don't get the same purchase into the punches. So, as you say, a role reversal. Now Sugama can come through Chi's punches.
Still ahead, significantly in Chi on the scorecards, but Sugama is getting right back in this, and don't rule out a stoppage even for the visiting Japanese fighter, maybe. It's not impossible from what we've been watching over the last couple of rounds.
I don't feel Sugama is really going for it in this round. Really, he's turned the fight around, he's got himself into the driving seat. You would expect him to be pushing for a big round here.
It's a good fight. Mark under the right eye of Injin Chi. Who is getting a bit long in the tooth, I suppose, for a featherweight. Is he just coming through the fog a little bit here, though? He's just shown 1 or 2 signs of resuming normal service here in the later stages of the 8th. Has it taken him this long to get over that knockdown?
Yep, Sugama may regret that he didn't go for a bigger round here in the 8th. So maybe the couple of rounds early, maybe just taking a bit of steam out of him. But Chi definitely getting back into things towards the end of the 8th round.
Good comeback this from Injin Chi. Now he's after Sugama again, who's let his work rate drop. Chi round, definitely, that one. Really re-established himself there, and he does have a very good lead at this point in the fight. Millennium Hall in Central City in Seoul, part of a big shopping complex in this city which staged the Olympic Games, and it was in that year that this man Injin Chi began boxing. There's his trainer, by the way, Jin Kyung Kim, who's a legendary trainer in Korea. He handled the great light flyweight Myung Woo Ya a few years back. Red boots, remember, Injin Chi, the defending WBC champion. This is his first defense of a title. It took him 3 attempts to win. Good right hand from Sugama, who looks a very decent fighter himself. That's the trouble at featherweight, that there's always somebody coming through.
Well, I still have Chi a couple of points up, as you can see. But look at the way the fight has turned around in Sugama's favour. I've given 2 out of the last 3 rounds, with the last one level. I thought Chi just turned things around in the last half minute or so to give him a share of the round. But Sugama still well in this.
I've got something similar, although I've got Chi a further point clear. I just gave him that last round, so Jim and I disagreeing about that one. This is the 9th.
See, again, when Sugama gets a little bit of space between himself and Chi, he does have the technique and the ability to get some punches home without taking them back, but as soon as Chi comes forward, the whole pattern changes.
Sugama having to give ground as Chi lifts it again. This maybe the cleaner, more accurate shots, if anything, are coming from Sugama, but significantly less of them perhaps over the course of the contest. Just scything shots from Injin Chi. His work rate really is prodigious. Been impressed with Sugama though, haven't you?
Yep, very much so. I mean, he's a lot better than I expected for a man who was thinking about quitting a matter of months ago. He looks full of the business here. It's just still that sheer physical strength of Chi is the big problem. But there's definitely a drop in his work rate, and we're seeing some vulnerability in Chi. So who knows? We've talked about Scott Harrison. We've never seen Scott on the verge of being stopped a couple of times with Chi. We were worried earlier. So what a match that would be.
Yeah, this is different. We're seeing things here in Injin Chi we haven't seen before. Nobody has really shaken him up, not even Eric Morales, in the way that Sugama did a couple of times in the middle rounds here. It's nice cool stuff this from Sugama in this round as well. Popping out his jab.
I think maybe it is possible that he's not in the same shape he was in the two fights with Michael Brodie. Maybe taking things for granted a little bit and maybe just enjoying being champion more than he should be. A little bit too much celebration, but still that fighter's hat drives himself forward.
The bell's gone. I don't think Injin Chi's heard it, or he doesn't want to. Anyway, we heard it, everyone else heard it. Is Bullner, the referee, going to do anything about that? Injin Chi went on for about 5 seconds.
He's letting them know he didn't hear it either. I think the referee's letting them know ringside here that he didn't hear the bell either.
Now maybe the microphones are close to the bell, which is why you heard it easily at home, and Injin Chi and the referee didn't.
See again the strength and just the fact that he will not be denied, and Chi just forcing the action, and again he really looks the boss. Another good round for the champion,
who has re-established himself, it must be said. I've got him 4 clear now and Jim 3. He's got that mark under the right eye, but nothing much to worry about. Has the crisis passed for the champion in front of his home fans here? This is round 10. Probably Michael Brodie would have found himself fighting in this arena had his people lost the purse bids for the second fight. He's punching with the inside of the glove there, really, frankly, Chi.
And he's also behind the head, so they weren't on target either.
Yeah, rabbit punches, weren't there, a couple of them. There he is trying to maraud and bustle Sugama out of it again. The Japanese fighter covers up well. Oh, right uppercut! It's a cracking shot! And down goes Sugama! It was the right uppercut! It was a corker! And Sugama collapses in a heap. Look at the crowd. Mandatory 8 count. Is Chi going to get the job done now in round 10? He might, you know. Long time left in the round as well. 2 minutes. He might have him here. Down again. There is no 3 knockdown rule here, but Chi here is on the brink. It's all over. It's been stopped. Referee didn't carry on with the count, and Injin Chi is still the WBC featherweight champion, but he had to come through a crisis tonight to do it, and Sugama looks in a bit of a bad way.
Well, again, that's the mark of a champion, where maybe you have a few problems to solve. You do it, and you do it in fine style, but that uppercut just took everything away from Sugama. Full credit to Sugama. He's still on the floor here. I think just as a precaution, he seems fully conscious, but I think they're just taking a chance. We can see his eye.
Let's hope he's all right. Eaichi Sugama just taking every precaution with him on the floor there. It was a huge right uppercut that started all the problems for him. And give Injin Chi all the credit in the world. He was beginning to lose the plot for a couple of rounds in the middle of the fight, but how he re-established himself. And what? He is not a man that any of the top featherweights would enjoy fighting, although there were one or two signs of vulnerability tonight. Let's hope that everything is all right here for Sugama, who put in a splendid effort.
Well, there are no signs of panic around him, Ian, so I'm fairly sure he is okay. And they're even taking the gloves off now, so I'm fairly sure this is as much exhaustion as anything else.
We could do without the ring announcer going into his spiel really before Sugama is all right again.
See, that's the punch. That just took everything away. The fight was beginning to turn against Sugama at this point. We'd seen his best. He's got himself back into the fight. He'd shaken Chi a couple of times, but I think the fight was turning against him, and that uppercut just robbed him of everything he had left. We criticised the referee a couple of times earlier, but I think he was right not to bother with the count, just to get Sugama out of there. Didn't bother with the count, and as we know now, we can see Sugama is on his feet. Everything is okay.
Still the champion, and Michael Brodie's excellent first effort against Chi looks better, doesn't it? Now the drawn fight that the two of them had, because he'll take some stopping in Chi, particularly when he gets himself in really tip-top shape. I'm sure he was for this fight. I think he underestimated this guy a bit in the build-up, don't you?
Yeah, but I still feel he was in good shape. He's obviously neglected the scales. That's just a bit of unprofessionalism, but he was in tremendous shape, because when the chance came at the end up, he had plenty of steam left in the tank.
Sugama, I think, is going to be okay, which is good news. There does seem to be no panic. They're just giving him the full amount of time. But she keeps the WBC title, and maybe he will fight Manny Pacquiao, the excellent, fast, big puncher from the Philippines, who had that great fight with Juan Manuel Marquez recently. That would be an absolutely cracking fight. Maybe one with Scott Harrison, who knows? No real talks about that at the moment. But Chi still has the championship here with a 10th round stoppage of the game. Big punching Aichi Sugama of Japan.